Oh wait, why are we recording this?
What have you completely forgotten what we were doing?
Yes.
So this is a piece of promo for the old music which we're re-releasing, and
Sugar,
it will be.
I thought we were hanging out.
No, not hangs. Very not chill. Very not chill.
This
Very much.
is work.
This is formal. This is suit and tie stuff. How's
Oh,
it?
it's
How's
lovely,
it in
isn't it?
Liverpool, Alan? Aaron. Alan.
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 Oh,
it's been that long, has
it?
Fucking hell.
Hey, Alan.
Our own guitarist coming back for our promo of this material, Alan.
This is high drama.
Wow, sliding doors.
Wrong key.
Oh.
I can just see this racking up tens of views.
Oh. Shit.
Mine's bigger than yours.
Nice. You got here quicker than I imagined you would.
Oh, I skated dangerously fast. That's why all that dangerous stuff happened.
Yeah.
That will happen.
He's no longer SF branded, but he did used to be part of the fold. Aaron, would you like to, in your own words, introduce yourself?
Right, sorry, I thought you were talking about Dario.
I'm still the new guy.
Yeah, I used to play lead guitar in Silent Forum, but then I sort of moved to a different sort of transcendent plane, really, and left the four of these other chaps in the lurch, really, but they've soldiered on valiantly.
I mean, it's fair enough, really. At the hospital you work at, how many of the doctors are in bands?
That I know of,
that you know
not
of.
very many.
Not many. As a proportion, as a percentage, how many would you say?
Close to zero.
Close to zero, yeah.
Approaching 0%. Well, don't judge me for this, but last weekend I ended up catching some of a live concert film of the band, well-known rock and roll band Muse, which was expensive and horrendous. But I couldn't help but think that we'd be on that kind of level. O2 Arena,
Stadium.
Lots of sort of like LED embellished trombones. No. In all seriousness, I'm really happy that the rest of you haven't forgotten, what that special thing that we had together for so long. And yeah, I'm very happy to have been invited back to reminisce.
There is no music that we've ever done that I listen back to that I feel is more emotionally potent than the 10 songs that are getting re-released that you were on. I think they were just so cathartic, and they really cut through to my core as a human being in a way I don't think we're ever going to do again.
What we're saying is that's all thanks to your tremolo guitar, Aaron.
Oh, wow.
Some material which we hid from view 3 years ago is now going back onto all services and will be available alongside our more recent music. And it's just really exciting, the idea of having another 10 songs suddenly in the wild, freely available for everybody to hear. And not only that, really good stuff that we're really passionate about. Ollie, what was the thinking about taking it off in the first place?
You asked me like it was my idea.
Yeah. Why did you make this decision?
Executive decision.
It was not my idea. It was so that we could put as much focus on the album as possible, because there's something about releasing a debut record, And in some ways, we're quite a different band than the band that put out those records. And I guess we wanted to be whatever the band who put out that album was.
Without changing our name.
Without changing our name, yeah, that was it, I guess. Yeah, we didn't want to change it up again.
I think those old tracks, looking at this first EP, it's got track names like Shame and Cortisol, and thinking these are really, really strong angsty flavors. It's proper post-punk music. And I think we were probably a little bit worried at the time. We were about to put out How I Faked the Moon Landing, which was our big anthem, and then Dario hates the word anthem, so I'll redact that. Like that was going to be the only thing in this style that we'd ever released. And then if anybody found that song and then listened to anything else we did, it would sound like a completely different band. It would be a very confusing experience. Like, okay, so Nameless was the first track we ever released out of our main.
It'll be on album 2.
Yeah, the first track we ever released with Dario, I should say.
Oh, I love that song. Good. There are a couple of memories associated to that song. A lot. One was when we were at Soon Festival, and it came on after a gig that we watched at Soon. And I think at the same time we were reading a review from Kevin of our Soon performance. Is that right?
Yeah.
That all happened at once, maybe. That was really nice. And then the other one is Aaron's friend very excitedly coming up to us or me and telling him that song made him feel like The Rat by the Walkmen. And I was just like, yeah, really? And he was like, I'm being very sincere, I really mean it. And I was just like, that's fantastic. Thank you.
And this was the song that wasn't there the guy who thought that this was one of the best song you ever heard?
Wolf in a Suit.
Oh, Wolf in a Suit. It was the best song he'd ever. This blog, and he's never written about us since.
No. I email him every time we release something. I email him, and us, the band who wrote the best song he'd ever heard of all time, never got a look in after that first song.
Do you think he's just been disappointed with everything else we've released?
Definitely.
It's all downhill from there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Exactly.
I think for me that Nameless is a song that still really particularly stands out. I think it treads the line well between being something substantial, brooding, dark, interesting, but also hooky. It's got a pop sensibility. It's dour, but not too dour. For like a song that's like purely representative of what we did at that time. I think probably Nameless and then Hosanna would be my two that would kind of sum us up in terms of the sorts of thing we were doing. So does anybody know which of the first EP was the first song we wrote? And then
it was Shame.
Shame.
Shame, yeah, it was Shame.
Yeah, it was called Evil Song in my tab book.
With Shame, it just sounds so fully formed and fully arrived. I think when we came up with that, I mean, the band we'd been before that was a fun indie pop band, really. We'd primarily done a lot of stuff that was not, I wouldn't say was as substantial as that first EP. And I think we were so impressed with ourselves when we came up with Shame that we felt like we had to rename the band.
Yeah, it was just quite like immediate and like nasty and heavy. And it was like, oh, this is fun.
Dong, 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 dong,
Yeah,
dong,
like,
dong, 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 dong.
Like that was one of Aaron's lines. It was like, ooh.
That is evil.
One of my best.
Yeah.
And then we decided a band who makes music like this can't be called How I Faked the Moon Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is correct.
So the second song we released after Nameless was River. I think that's another one that
was because we had a video. That was why we released it. That was the only reason, I think.
I think it is. It's a bit of out of that first EP. It's the second most catchy after Nameless, I'd say.
Yeah,
you always
said.
said. You always said. Yeah.
What's the other? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty. When we listened to that a few weeks ago, I thought that one held up.
Yeah, I like
quite
that
well, really. Quite a cool, quite a nasty verse as well.
Yeah. That bass riff in the second verse. The most disgusting thing I've ever done in my entire life.
That is a really good example of where you've got two guitarists that are competing with each other, both playing lead guitar in a completely different way. And it was that kind of like uncomfortable dynamic that basically summed up what the band was doing. That was kind of the point of the band.
Aaron and Dario's love-hate relationship.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's all,
just as on the stage, just as.
It was a Johnny Marr Morrissey thing, wasn't it?
except
It
for
was
Morrissey,
just-
but singing through a guitar. I don't get what you're talking about.
Just a big ego battle between
So
me and Aaron.
which one's the
for years.
racist out of Aaron and Dario?
Probably Dario. By the
Yeah,
looks of
me.
it.
Yeah.
Look at that moustache.
Does anyone want to say anything about cortisol whilst
Yeah.
we're still on brief collapses?
I remember thinking, can I get away with basically playing this entire song just on the G string, playing tremolo and not actually playing any bass? And the answer was basically yeah. And I didn't have a reverb pedal because they're quite expensive, so I stuck two delay pedals on top of each other and sort of created a reverb sound through that. So that's my memory, of course. I'm just trying to make my bass sound kind of humongous.
Big chunk.
I think there was an ambition when we wrote Cortisol. You know, it was longer than any of the other songs on the EP, and I think, you know, I look back very fondly on it. I think possibly we, you know, had to kind of develop our sound a little bit more for that ambition to be fully realised in songs that came after it. But I think it was, I have really fond memories of kind of feeling like, you know, shit, we can write a, what is it, 5-6 minute song?
Yeah, I think it's like
and it sounds pretty cool. That it's not something that we would have done kind of 6 months before that or whatever.
I just remember it being really intense to write and intense to play, and like every time we played it, like even if it was practice, I think both Richard and I just got really into it. So
Yeah.
that was, you said cathartic earlier, Rich. I think that was a cathartic song.
Yeah, I mean, it's aptly named. I would get really stressed playing that song.
You were jumping about.
That was the ultimate punching myself in the head song on stage.
Yeah, it was.
Is
And
that the one that you threw the chair across the room in practice? Was that
Yeah, it
last
was.
playing
Yeah,
Cortisol?
that must.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you picked up the fucking stool in Arches and just like tossed it across the room.
I must have been really angry.
No, you're just really into it.
Lots of Cortisol.
Yeah, it was good. It was rock and roll.
And then there's a really nice poppy bit at the end. Panic
Yeah, that's my
over,
favourite bit.
rolling over, feeling
That's my
older, and
favourite
when
bit.
it's nearly older.
Yeah, that's my favourite moment of the whole EP. That little bit. I love that bit.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, I used to wait for that bit and be like, "Yeah, we made it."
Here it comes.
The last minute of
Who
the
did I?
EP.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, it must have been
Recorded in
yeah.
December 2015. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, maybe.
That's a while ago, isn't it?
2015. Ooh,
Like 15.
That's a little old time ago.
Jesus, Dario, you weren't
Barely-
old enough
yeah, I
to
was
drink
gonna
then, were
say,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, I was probably 15. 15 and 2015.
12.
Yeah, I'm a naughties baby actually. Gen
I said-
X, Z.
Can
I
tell.
can't believe you're finally 18, Dario. Now you can drink when we play gigs in bars.
It's not as quick.
Yeah, and I don't have to put earplugs in when you say a swear word or something.
Every time.
I was saying to Arena the other day, we decided that our only ambition and our main focus in life is to try and live until the 22nd century. Technically possible. I want to die in the
maybe.
I want to die in the 22nd century. That's my main.
Wow. So you'd be 127.
107. No,
107. 107.
You're going to have to start with like intermittent fasting now, because if you intermittent fast for a lifespan, it prolongs your lifespan by like 25% or something ridiculous like that.
You'll be
It's
eating a lot
nuts.
less though, Rich. Like,
But you have to put yourself into like regular periods of starvation. It works. Like
It
it works.
sounds counterproductive.
I want to
Yeah.
be. I don't think he'd listening to me, Elliot. I want to be born in the 20th century and die in the 22nd century.
Yeah, and think of the feast that you can have when you get there as well.
Yeah, just save all the feast up until
Just-
then, and
just
just
like-
on regular periods deprive yourself of food, and you'll live 25% longer.
guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
It's the Silent Forum guarantee.
So all I'm saying to the people at home, if you're watching this in the 22nd century, you will know what we don't know. So if you've come across this footage, leave a little comment in the comments
Yeah.
and like and subscribe.
Yeah.
That's something people used to say at the start
Yeah,
of the
those
21st
words don't
century.
make sense.
Yeah, Richard, that's going to make
Yeah.
sense too.
Yeah,
Yeah, you won't have the choice. It'll be streamed straight in.
yeah. We'll have to predict what they're going to do in the year 2100. So, download this into your brain or something.
I don't know. The thing is, will any of this actually even be accessible? Technology might have moved on. It's like anything that needed quick time to play in the 90s. Lost. I want to take you back in time to late 2016. You're about to enter Silent Forum's darkest period.
Ooh.
Their moodiest, saddest music the world had ever seen before or since. We're at Silent Forum's lowest ebb, but
Yeah.
creative peak.
Question mark.
Creative Peak. That'll be the title of the.
The greatest
that'll be our
hits album.
clickbait. Yeah, that'll be our clickbait YouTube title.
Greatest shit.
Silent Forum's Creative Peak.
Just think, greatest hits? Question mark.
Yeah.
Tens of clicks, literally tens of clicks. We often started gigs with this one. Any memories of Who's Gonna Side With Me?
Yeah, it was when I got to put my 3 delay pedals by that point up to really stupid amounts in the bridge, and I just did a delay solo instead of playing bass. Remember? I'd get on the floor and just mess around.
Wow.
And sometimes it sounded rubbish, but once or twice I was like, yeah,
Nailed it.
yeah, that's what the people want.
When we played that song, that's when my amp kept going out. We played it for like 15 minutes because every so often my amp would cut out. So I'd be frantically trying to plug it back in, and you guys would just loop that really long, that already long middle 32 or whatever.
I was just doing this.
Wow, that's really blue ballsing for the shell put me down, shell put me down, shell put me down in a hole. He's gonna do it. In 5 minutes time.
Club mix.
Yeah, oh, that'd be brutal.
All we needed is somebody on synth going wah 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 wah. You'd have to do that like 5 times. Raw.
Yeah, that's what it needed.
My main memory of writing the song is it's about Ollie's relationship with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, your favourite of my ex-girlfriends.
My favourite of your ex-girlfriends. Who's going to side with me once the story's out? Except for I built in this kind of narrative that like something
was just not there.
that's just non-existent. But hey,
I
add some drama.
thought at the time that you were misunderstanding how I was feeling, so I was like, "No, Rich, I'm really fine." Like,
Oh no,
I'm
no,
not worried about that.
No, the song needed drama, Ollie.
Yeah. I'm glad to know that I'm not dramatic enough for song.
No, your real life wasn't interesting enough for even one song.
Half a song.
So I'd say for me, Who's Gonna Side With Me and When I See You Shake are like brother and sister songs. I don't know if it's just because of the titles are similar, or if there's actually something about those songs that kind of feel like they feel.
We
like
wrote them at a similar time. I feel like they came within a week or 2 of each other.
Yeah.
Great drum beat. Still haven't topped it, Elliot.
Oh, disco.
I'll keep trying.
Was that the first time you threw down a disco beat on a Silent Forum song?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's probably the first time I thought I could get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right as well.
Yeah.
I'd say Humility is then EP2's Nameless.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not euphoric or triumphant in any way or cathartic. It's just sad.
It just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I like it
enough
enough, but
for a song called Humility.
Like even I think it's a bit sad.
It's incredibly sad. It's very affecting though. Like I do think it's like looking back, it probably wasn't the right teaser single to release for the EP.
Yeah, agreed.
Like that,
It's got was gnarly bass and guitar in it though. Like I guess gnarly.
That was a mistake. But I think in terms of like in a song in and of itself, I think it's really beautiful. My main memory of Sanctuary is playing Hosanna in
the community centre,
various different rooms. The community centre gig was one of the best gigs we have ever done, and that song was the best song we played that evening.
You got.
Was that the gig
Bono,
where the guy?
was like, "Oh, you're the next Bono."
Yeah.
And we were all just like, "Did he say Bono?"
It's good.
Hosanna was fun to write as well.
Hosanna was where we learned that we can push writing songs.
Yeah, we had to.
Like we actually wrote that song.
It's quite well written, really. Yeah, I mean,
really well written.
Before that, I wouldn't say that we really knew what we were doing when we were writing songs. That kind of happened.
Yeah, no,
that song was actually quite well crafted.
Good exercise. Yeah, I agree. That was when Elliot became the structure king.
Yeah, to the reins.
Yeah, Elliot finally took charge.
Step aside, ladies and gentlemen. We need a 9-minute song.
Step aside, ladies.
So
we started with that and worked backwards, really, didn't we?
Yeah, we had the like heaviest bit. We just had the like.
We've got a 6-minute ending.
Yeah. Now we need an excuse to do it.
Yeah.
3-minute prelude. Yeah.
That was a good way to write the song. And actually, when I listen back to it now, the 3-minute section at the start is way better than I remember it. Because
Okay.
every time before, when we were writing it and recording it and playing it, I was just like, oh, get to the point. Get to the point.
I mean, it's worth noting that these tracks won't be reappearing in the same way that they were when they went away. They've all been remastered. So we're getting to see that material at the most polished and beautiful it can possibly be.
You know,
and I think
Charlie's done a really nice job.
He's done an amazing job, and to have his touch on a song like Hosanna, which is just so well structured and beautifully written and so epic, and it takes you on such a long journey. I think it brings it to the next level, and I think it makes it even more exciting. The PRS guy came to one of our very early non-Aaron gigs and went, "Oh yeah, you used to have another member, isn't it? He was so beautiful."
I
forgot about that.
That was in 10 Feet Tall. Yeah,
that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
So true.
Very true.
What happened, eh?
We lost all our sex appeal when we lost Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any song that I've preferred playing live in my life than Hosanna.
You had to end the show on it as well. Like you couldn't.
Yeah, it was great.
You would just die if you put it at the beginning of the set. You wouldn't be able to play. Just 9 minutes of quite intense drum beats.
Richard and I were sweating by the end of it every time.
I don't want that. I don't want to never get to play it again. By the way, Aaron, so you are going to have to learn how to play guitar again.
Can you learn how to play it for like my wedding?
Oh.
Whoa.
No, don't do it.
Your mum would love that.
My mum would love it.
His mum would love that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. One day I would like to. I don't know, but like an anniversary gig of some kind. I would like to play our set, and then Aaron comes on, and then we play Hosanna.
I'd have to learn it too. Aaron, you'd have to.
Oh, we don't have to learn it
again.
That is an era. Those first 2 EPs for me. That is an era that is really self-contained, and that's like the original Silent Forum, the brief we came up with when we came up with that band name. And then towards the end of Aaron's tenure in the band, we came up with Trust and Limbo, which I think is a view into what we do now. And I think there's a straight line from those songs to the songs we perform today. And we wouldn't be able to be where we are now. We didn't come up with those 2 songs. So I think it was Limbo that we released first, and it is one of the weirdest songs we have ever conceived. Structurally, it's bizarre.
That was great writing it.
Yeah, we were all playing slightly different structures, which all fit.
Didn't you draw a graph for it?
Yeah, I drew it out. I drew it out on a bit of paper,
and it just didn't fit together.
Yeah.
There was like no sequence of 4 bars where we were all playing the same section that we thought we were playing.
So I remember when before we realised that, we were trying to talk to each other about it. So Rich was like, "Oh, I'll sing the chorus," and I was like, Don't sing the chorus there." And you were like, "Yeah, sing the chorus there." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And we were like, "Hold on a minute, what's the chorus?"
We all said something completely different.
Yeah, it's a miracle that all those different bits managed to slot together.
Yeah.
Christmas miracle.
That's what that song is, though. That's actually okay. This is the one that I'm going to listen to the most out of all of the old ones, I think, because like that'll slot in with the album really nicely.
Yeah, it's just those guitars are really nice. The 2 guitar parts fit together really, really gorgeously, and I think it's another good example of how you can have 2 lead guitarists, and that can be your thing, and more bands should do that. Can I have 60 seconds of your time? Yes.
Yes.
The thing that Trust does that I enjoy that we then did a lot was that it changes halfway through the song into a different song. I love songs that do that, and I remember writing that being like, nice. Because it goes all nice and like dreamy for a bit, isn't it?
This is the very last song I wrote about a relationship that ended in 2015. We wrote it in January 2017. So I spent a very, very long time. So like all 10 of those songs, probably you could find a line in there somewhere about that relationship. I really managed to spin a yarn on that one
at the same time.
Because there's a big chorus at the end, isn't it? It's like
it's huge.
Oh my god!
Builds, it builds up for ages, and then Elliot does halftime.
It is
halftime.
Am I out of luck? If you want in, then I want out. Am I out of luck? Am I out of... And then it ends with, it's the truth I'm afraid of.
Yeah, oh yeah, we
It's
used
the
to do
truth that's the
that.
problem. Which
I think
actually, that is
I
the
think
very
we-
first album, but I would like to revisit that again. I want to
I think
start
you
doing
s-
singing like that again.
I was gonna say, I think you scared Hayden when you recorded that. So we're like in his attic, and you're just like, yeah.
I think, okay, we've talked about all the material now. I think it'd be worth kind of wrapping it up by talking about, okay, how did you find it when suddenly Aaron was leaving the band and we had to kind of deal with...
It was fucking horrible.
That's definitely, for me personally, because at that time, I couldn't have imagined the band with any person removed from it.
It was more like, where's one of my best friends going?
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
that's
really-
it. There you go.
How was it for
And
you,
I'm
Aaron?
still not over it.
How was it for you? You went to Cuba and then you went on to
yeah,
were you
Cuba.
so busy that you just didn't have time to think about it, or?
Well, it was sort of starting work really,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was just new job, new city, kind of actually not that close to Cardiff.
Yeah. It turns out.
It turns out, yeah. Gosh, yeah, it was sad to have had to leave you guys, you know. But I think it would have been too much to carry on considering, and I think the pressure for it to be,
Yeah.
you know, good and worthwhile and things would have been high.
I was used to always playing as in a certain way as if I was the only guitarist anyway. But with with Aaron there, it creates all those sort of tensions by the fact that
There's another guitarist
that competition which is going on.
Another reason or another potential factor in it not working out, and the thing that I wanted to avoid the most would be it ending in some sort of, you know, acrimonious way,
Yeah.
or kind of falling apart through no fault of our own, but through, you know, kind of,
Yeah, that would have been sad.
yeah, I feel like, you know, the being in the band is like one of the best things I've ever done and probably will ever do. When I think back to my time in Cardiff, it's just, I can't separate it from being in Silent Forum. And, you know, I'll always treasure that. And, you know, I'd like to think that that'd be the case anyway, but like I say, I think it would have been sad if that memory for all of us were kind of tainted by a kind of...
Yeah, it really wasn't either. Like, I think we did a good job of it,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, it was sad, but it wasn't like, yeah, I agree. Oh, I can't wait to see you, Aaron.
I can't wait to see you as well.
I know.
We still miss you a lot.
Yeah,
I really mean, like, you are more
I
than
miss you.
welcome to come and hang out in our band practices whenever. And like, we were really hopeful. I remember, like, when we wrote How I Faked the Moon Landing and a pop act, and we were talking Charlie through those songs, we still thought Aaron was going to come back and he'd be on those tracks. We still thought there was, like, so we were leaving space for him, and kind of like, it did take a little while for us to kind of...
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Dario, I wanted to ask, when, you know, after I left the band, were there sorts of things that you'd been holding back maybe, or things that you'd wanted to do that there kind of wasn't space for when I was in the band that you kind of, you know, were able to kind of pursue? Or
I wouldn't frame it that way, no, because I think you just kind of deal with what's going on as it's coming up. You know, the way that we write anyway is very much like you judge the situation and then you create the part based on what you think fits in. So it was never kind of like, I wish I could do something else. It was more like finding your slot. It just that when there wasn't another guitar part, it was like the slot was bigger, but it wasn't something which had a kind of a previously versus an after kind of dynamic. But I was just wanted to add, I do still have at least one or two of your pedals, which are
Aaron,
which are on the album, by the way. So you're still on it in a way.
in spirit.
Your line 6, your line 6 Echo Park is like the center of like all of my ambient music. So you can't have it back.
I can't have it back. That's what
if you ever need if you ever need any money, like I can give you some money because I owe you some, basically. But you can't have it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
A big muff as well on the record. That
pedal is fucking. That pedal's amazing, Aaron. I love that pedal. So
the Echo
good.
Park.
Yeah, it's mental. That's it. Yeah.
I'm just glad that it's still getting, it's still being used.
Every single week, man.
That makes me happy.
I still use some of Johnny's pedals, to be fair. Actually, I get a delay pedal. I inherit a delay pedal every time a guitarist leaves. So when Dario leaves, I've got my eyes on his nice delay pedal.